Welcome, everybody back to the TIZZ Talk Podcast. I am your host, Chucktizz, and you are tuning in to the 30th episode of the TIZZ Talk Podcast. And I got as I always say, a very special guest on the line and a returning guest who hasn't been on the show since the start of this thing. I swear it's probably
COVID.
It's been a year. We got the homie Jared on the line. Coming from, where are you coming from, buddy?
Coming from New Orleans, Louisiana, baby.
New Orleans, Louisiana. So I'm assuming you had to just live through the entire craziness of, how was Mardi Gras this year?
It was non-existent. And,
was it really?
Yeah, it was the weekend when those snowstorms hit H-Town.
Oh, shit.
And I actually came home for that weekend because it was depressing that there was no Mardi Gras. So
that's right. I was with you.
Yeah. And then lived without power for a few days and jumped around houses. I remember we linked up and you came in my truck and charged your laptop.
I just sat there in the cold, and I mean, literally, that was all there was to do. That was literally how the entire week went. It was insane.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't realize that was Mardi Gras.
That was a first for me. I've never seen that in Houston. At least
that was a first for a lot of us who are, under 50 years old. The last time I believe that happened, well, it got sort of like that in 2011, but really the last time anything like that happened was in like the late 80s in Houston.
Yeah.
It was insane. But yeah, it's crazy you were in town for that. I didn't realize that was Mardi Gras though. So it was non-existent, and it was basically existent.
Well, it wasn't necessarily non-existent. So, New Orleans, everyone in New Orleans looks forward to Mardi Gras every year. A couple of million people probably come down. So they're not just going to completely let it go. And so they decided to do these house floats. And so what you could do was you could sign up through some website. And if you had a home in NOLA, there was like a parade route where people would decorate their houses, and then people would drive their cars by these houses to kind of see all the house floats essentially. So they're kind of the same sort of decorations that you'd see on the floats in Mardi Gras, but it was very underwhelming. It wasn't the same experience. It wasn't even close to the same experience.
So it was like taken down to the level of Galveston's Mardi Gras.
I mean, no, it was Galveston's normal Mardi Gras is way, way better than what this was, but
it was kind of a joke.
I get it. If you really want to see Mardi Gras, you got to come to New Orleans and experience it for yourself.
Were you there for 2020? No.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Yeah, so that's when I took a year off, but I actually went down to New Orleans and stayed with my friends at school, and that was a
what I remember. That's right, because you called me when you were like driving out there, and you were like trying to do a podcast on the road or some shit like that. You're like, what do you think? I was like, I don't know, dude.
I actually started running one. I ran it for like 20 minutes. Oh, I don't even remember what that thing's called.
You have a podcast.
I know I do, but
all things necessary.
All things necessary.
Yeah. Check it out, TIZZ fam. All things necessary. There's at least one episode on there. If you're into stocks, it's a good episode.
Yeah, no. So yeah, that's my keystone episode is I did a podcast with a buddy of mine who is a algorithmic trader / computer science programmer. He knows how to code every language, and was working a research job at a comp sci company, or it was doing comp sci work at a research firm. Hated it and was like, I have too much of a valuable skill to limit myself to this. I'm going to do something else, and essentially learned how to trade, came up with some strategies, and now this guy is literally rebuilding people's algorithms and is trying to start a quantitative hedge fund in the coming future, and he's killing it. So Yeah, it's definitely an interesting episode. He talks about his methodology and building these algorithms and his approach to them. It's pretty cool. If you're into that stuff, check it out.
To my recollection, it was more geared towards Forex, right?
Yeah, it was a Forex algo that he's built. He specializes in Forex algos.
So, Tiz fam, if you don't understand any of the language we're talking about, Forex is basically a short term for saying foreign exchange. It's trade. You're basically trading currencies.
You're trading currencies, and one of the things he talks about is how, currencies, you're basically you're using a opportunistic situation to buy the exchange rate of a currency pair at different times. And when you think about how small of an increment of money that is, in Forex, they give you insane leverage. So it actually ends up being some pretty good meat on the bone in these trades.
Yeah, like a penny difference means
not even like a
a fraction of a penny.
A tenth of a cent
is a huge amount when you're talking about, differences between different currencies for different countries.
Yeah. And that stuff's, it's a 24 hours, 5.5 days a week,
yeah, they have different hours than the normal market. I know that. I don't know exactly.
It's a global market. So, instead of it being 5 days a week, it's 5.5 because it opens in one country and closes in another.
But it also stays open longer.
Well, it's open 24 hours a day for 5.5 days straight.
Okay. So it's 24-hour market and it's 5.5 days. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. But, recently I've kind of, one of my good friends actually just built an algorithm and it's looking very promising. Taylor knows him. We don't need to name who it is, but he is looking for a place to put some money. And so we started to learn about Ethereum mining, which, I have.
Oh, yeah, elaborate on that a little bit, because that's what we were discussing when we were sitting in your fucking car when it was freezing cold during the freeze.
So when we were sitting in the car, I had my laptop and I was trying to model potential returns on Ethereum mining rig setup. And, basically, if you don't know anything about crypto mining, essentially the reason somebody mines or how cryptocurrency works is, there's a blockchain. And what a blockchain is, well, first of all, let me say this. The idea of cryptocurrency is to make the banks obsolete. It's to have a medium where you can exchange payments without dealing with the fees, the hassle, and the chain of command where they cut off fees left and right when you're trying to make transfers in a bank. And cryptocurrency is essentially a network of transactions that are kept on a ledger called a blockchain. And in order to keep this ledger, it's kept on tons of computers that are essentially what are called miners. And what these miners are doing is they are running programs that solve complex math equations. And by solving these equations, you successfully are, keeping up with the ledger of the blockchain. So you're keeping that public record where it will be like wallet, 172x5 blah 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 sent X Bitcoin to this person at this time. And all transactions that take place in the cryptocurrency market, but all Bitcoin transactions, all Ethereum transactions, all these cryptos are kept on a blockchain, which is, it's blockchain technology. So essentially, as a miner, you will pay, for example, there's what Ethereum miners use are called GPU mining rigs. And what a GPU is like, it's the graphics card that a lot of like gaming computers have in them. People who build PCs for, rendering video and stuff like that, they use these GPUs and they have a lot of computing power, and they're able to use that computing power to solve these math problems and run these programs. And so these GPUs, the market for them, there's so many people who are trying to get their hands on them. The manufacturers are playing games. And so people are paying almost double what they retail for these GPUs. And so, there's a lot of little ins and outs of getting into Ethereum mining. There's a lot of things you have to consider. I could go into more detail, but that would it probably would take me another 20 minutes. But the bottom line is,
okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
I think you've given enough. And I'm not saying stop. I'm saying you don't need to go into too much depth.
Yeah. So essentially, Ethereum mining rigs can be, let's talk about the numbers, right? So let's say you buy a $7,500 rig, if that rig with the Ethereum that you mine, assuming that the price of Ethereum itself stays constant, right? Because you are given pieces of portions of a coin and Ethereum and Ether every time that you solve a block, right? And so assuming that the price of the coin stays the same, which it's not, you would break even for the cost of your setup in 7 months. From then on out, everything that you run for the next 2 years is straight profit. Now, here's the kicker. The kicker is that Ethereum is a very Ethereum and Bitcoin are the two main cryptos, right? Ethereum almost is better than Bitcoin because you can use Ethereum to validate transactions as well as store code. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with Ethereum. It has more capabilities than a Bitcoin. And the price of Ethereum, this crypto craze, as all the banks start to buy, as more money floods in, as more people start to understand this stuff, the projection is that Ethereum could go up as high as $50,000 to $60,000 per Ethereum. And so if it's sitting at around $2,000, 2,500, around there right now, and it goes 25x, all of that money that you've made from this mining rig in 2 years, it's not just assuming that the price of Ethereum stays the same. It's actually 25 times the amount of that money, and so it's very profitable. It definitely is a very hands-on, takes a lot of effort and time to get one of these operations set up. But there's some dudes who have massive operations with solar farms powering them, $100 million operations that are pulling in ridiculous amounts of money.
So Ethereum actually is sitting at about 19,084 right now per
Ethereum
coin.
1900.
I'm sorry, 1900. Now today alone, it dropped 5.5%, give or take.
Yeah.
But just over the past, I don't know, month.
It comes in waves, There are things that will cause a crypto run for a few weeks to a month, and then it starts to settle out. And then that next wave or whatever it is, pumps it up a little more. And what's happened over time since the blockchain was invented is that more and more people have got on board, and it's starting to spread exponentially. And so I truly believe that Bitcoin is going to go extremely high. I'm talking maybe even $500,000 of Bitcoin.
Yeah,
because
easily over $100,000 by the end of 2021.
No, not by 2021. Within the next 5 to 10 years.
Well, okay, but
I said 500,000.
By the end of this year,
by the end of next year, it could be over 100,000.
Which for me, where's Bitcoin at? Like 56,000 right now. Yeah, it was down like 2.5% today, but I'm hesitant to get into it now because I'm like, well, it seems too high.
Let me say this, Taylor. Bitcoin it's I can't remember the term, but it's essentially a double-edged sword, or I don't think that's the right expression, but there's two things that can happen. One is it goes to the moon in 10 years, or two is that it goes to zero. And the only way that Bitcoin will ever go to zero, and this is going to sound a little bit silly and crazy and be like, holy shit.
The whole concept.
Listen. The only way that it could go to zero is if the worldwide government, meaning every government across the world, decides that they want to shut down Bitcoin, and they go door to door and unplug everybody's mining operation. That is the only way that they will ever get rid of the blockchain, ever. It will never go away, and it's going to go to the moon because more and more people, there's going to be a higher use for it. More and more people are going to want to use it.
Well, it's not even more and more people. It's even institutions are now
are holding it
for the first time.
I think Morgan Stanley is now offering it to a bunch of its very rich private banking customers.
They're not the only ones. They are one of several. And I was highly invested in an altcoin called Stellar Lumen. XLM is the ticker. Back in 2017.
I bought XLM.
Yeah, well, I was highly invested into it at its peak. I was that idiot who chased it when it was running high as everything was. And there was the crazy crypto crash of 2017, 2018, whatever. Yep. And I got absolutely crushed crushed and just held and prayed. And I think 2 years, I think 2 years, year and a half went by. I finally gave in and just cashed out.
Can I give somebody who's looking to invest in crypto one piece of advice?
Absolutely. That's the whole point.
Okay, so I watched this documentary where it was back in 2010, 2011, 2012. It was a documentary this guy shot about his personal crypto mining operation when Bitcoin first existed. And this was before Bitcoin ATMs had been invented. This was before the mainstream had known about this thing.
Wait, I'm not interrupting. I want to talk about these Bitcoin ATMs at one point. I've seen them in gas stations and shit, and I don't understand it.
Sure.
We'll get to that, but
I don't necessarily know how they work personally.
I don't either. It blows my fucking mind. But
I think I think that maybe you can put in cash in it and it purchases Bitcoin for you.
I just thought maybe you knew a little bit more about it, but it's fine. I'm curious because I see them in gas stations and shit, and I'm like, what is this? Like, what in the fuck is going on?
Yeah. So if you're looking to get in this stuff, this documentary I watched, the guy who had this mining operation, everybody was buying, selling, buying, selling, buying, selling. They didn't know what to do. This guy is loaded now because he believed he was investing in the blockchain itself. He wasn't investing. He was investing in what Bitcoin has the capability to do, the idea, what it solves, and what it does for the world. And if you can get behind that, if that's why you're putting your money in a cryptocurrency, don't ever sell that stuff until, at least 10 years in the future. Buy and hold it. Keep acquiring it because
the beauty about that story is the pizza guy was accepting a payment in something that he was like, well, I'll take it.
It's a pizza,
and Bitcoin was worth like under $100 a coin at the time, right? So he decided
it was worth less than that. I don't know the whole story. Taylor, it was worth much less than that.
Whatever it was worth not a lot. But now look what each coin's worth. I mean, the guy's a millionaire.
The guy's a multi-hundred, if not a billionaire.
A pizza guy, TIZZ fam.
A guy across the world who was like, yeah, sure, you can pay me in Bitcoin. I'll call in a pizza for you. Sure. Yeah. Now this guy has hundreds of millions of dollars,
It's a crazy story. It's one of the craziest stories I think I've ever to this day ever heard when it comes to any type of investment.
You want to hear something even crazier? There are people that have a few $100 million in Bitcoin who have lost their password, and they have one more attempt to get their passcode right. And
if they Bitcoin fuck up, they lose it.
Yeah. If they fuck up, it's locked and you can never open that wallet ever again.
So advice on your crypto wallets: do not fuck up your password because you have a certain amount of attempts, and then if you lose those attempts, you're locked out and it is gone forever.
So I just actually in this drawer right next to me, I have on a piece of paper, I bought an altcoin not pretty recently that is a gold back coin. So they have a mining operation in Africa and they're mining gold. It's going to back the currency, kind of like the gold standard back in the day. But I thought it was interesting. And, the amount of gold that they're going to actually end up mining. I've looked at the topography. I've looked at the resource maps and all sorts of stuff that like the geologists were put together. And it looks like it's a great site. And essentially that amount of
Are you going to plug this in? Like, what's the site?
It's called GSX. It's from a company called Apollo FinTech. If you look up Apollo FinTech and go to their website, you can find it and learn more about it. But it is a cool altcoin. So what I was saying is I have this piece of paper when I made an Apollo wallet through their website because this is the initial coin offering right now. It's not traded on any exchange.
So Jared, let me ask you a question. Explain, to my understanding, Bitcoin, altcoins, cryptocurrencies. This is basically a type of currency that you can capitalize on without really owning it, but capitalizing on the movement of it from people making, when I say people, drug dealers or whatever, making moves with it on the dark web.
So back in the day, there was something called the Silk Road, and that was actually another thing I learned about in one of the documentaries I watched. And essentially, it was a online. You would use this app called Tor, which was essentially like the black
Yeah,
market
I
that you could
remember
find.
this. I remember all of this. Yeah.
Yeah, so people were buying and selling drugs. You could get a couple pounds of weed off
And
Bitcoin,
people could
and
capitalize on the movement of it.
yeah, and but that there was a lot of stuff that came out that kind of smeared what Bitcoin was and what it's able to do. And ultimately they've made it a little safer, and the government agencies have gotten smarter in spotting
Well, when you have big banks, not to
suspicious
cut you off, but
transactions and
when you have
stuff.
big banks backing this shit up now, I mean,
Yeah.
come on. I mean, it's a real thing, and it's not
It's
going
a
anywhere.
real thing and it is not fucking going
It's not
anywhere.
going anywhere.
It's like Jordan
And then the
Belfort. I'm not
biggest,
leaving. I'm not leaving.
wait, Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes.
Where's my martinis at until I pass out? But no, it's not going anywhere, Tiz fam. And the thing is it's like, look, uh, when the big banks get behind it, it really does state the fact that it's not going anywhere. And the plain fact, I mean, I make a joke when I say that, you could capitalize on these movements of, drug dealers making these acquisitions and all that, and you can capitalize on the movement of it. And really, if you're trading it on Robinhood or any altcoin or anything that has to do with crypto, you do not own those coins. You are just a speculator. You are just a speculator, and you are sitting on the sideline. Basically, you could buy in, but you don't technically own the coins. You're speculating, and you're just riding the waves up or down. That's Robinhood, Tiz fan. That's Robinhood. Now, Coinbase, Binance,
Rob Crookhood.
Voyager,
Robin Crookhood.
Kraken. I mean, there's so many of more realistic ones that if you really want to own, you can own them. But if you're trading Bitcoin or any altcoin or anything that's crypto on Robinhood, you do not own these coins. You are literally a spectator on the sideline just betting that it's going up or down. And you really can't bet that it goes down on Robinhood. There's no way to short it. Now, there is a way to short it, but you can't short it on Robinhood.
Now, there are a lot of the big crypto firms, like the firms that actually are like crypto traders, like legitimate firms with a few hundred to $1 billion on assets under management. They have the ability to buy options on these. They have the ability to cover their positions with options. They have,
is one of the biggest ways. That's what I've always told people is like, if you want to short Bitcoin, your biggest opportunity to do so is to buy puts or sell calls. To Sam, if you don't know what that means, I'm not getting into fucking details about all of this, but it's option trading stuff. And basically you're betting against it, but there's only certain avenues to do that. And if you're not an institution, you can't really do it without, shorting a blockchain company by buying puts or selling calls.
Yeah.
Because there's no avenue to short Bitcoin.
Look,
or
if you want to buy crypto, get a wallet.
Honestly, if you're gonna buy crypto
and buy crypto.
Not the best time to do
dude, unless you're an institution, you have no business shorting this stuff. You don't have big enough positions to need to hedge with options. You don't have big enough positions to need any of this stuff. If you are a average retail investor, you need to put your money into the currency itself, and you need to buy and hold. And I guarantee you will make a fat load of money in 10 years. I guarantee it.
But here's the biggest question I have for you.
I'm also not a financial advisor. Please don't sue me.
We are both not financial advisors, but at the same time, it's like, here's the question. It's like, is this the right time to get in?
If you look at, if you're thinking about Bitcoin in the long term, I don't care where it's at. It's within like a $5,000 up or down range right now, right?
But if you want to do it smart and you want to do this the right way,
sure, buy a dip. Sure, buy a dip. But
buy the dip, right? Buy the dip because I'm pretty confident by the end of this year it'll hit 100,000.
I think it's going to come close. If not, by the end of next year, we'll hit 100,000.
Right. So that means it's going to double its price basically by now. Bitcoin specifically is what we're talking about. But honestly, my opinion, and as Too Woke, my co-host on the show, who's not available tonight, as he said in the prior podcast, these altcoins, Stellar, XRP, or sorry, XLM, Ripple, XRP, Cardano, ADA. These are all small, like almost penny stocks in a sense to look into, because when they move and you have a big investment, if they go up, like they move faster than options trading.
But I kind of want to. I was scrolling through the interwebernets earlier, and I came across this article, and I'll read it if you'd like. I can read.
Take it away, man. Take it away. Take it away.
So this article is from dailybeast.com. I'm pretty sure I saw this on another website, but I lost that tab and I just Googled it. But it is called "Naked Woman Pulled from Florida Storm Drain Says She Was Trapped for 3 Weeks. Unbelievable."
Whoa, really? Like this is a true story?
This is a true story.
So, okay, elaborate. I got to hear this.
Okay, so a 43-year-old Florida woman who was found naked inside a storm drain on Tuesday says she was trapped in the underground system for 3 weeks. The Sun Sentinel reports.
Does it explain how she got there?
I think it does.
Okay.
The woman told police.
I had to ask.
The woman told police that she went for a swim in West Delray Canal on March 3rd when she opened a door that guided her to a chain of tunnels. After going through multiple tunnels, the woman got lost and couldn't navigate her way back, a police report says. The drainage system eventually led to the downtown area of Delray Beach on Atlantic Avenue, where she was found on Tuesday after a passerby heard the woman yelling from a sewer and called 911. She was missing for 20 days. The woman reportedly has a history of issues with mental health and drug addiction issues.
So wait, so she was literally in this tunnel for 20
Yeah,
days?
here, I'm actually going to open the bigger article.
I mean, that's 3 weeks of being in a tunnel.
Fuck, I got to subscribe.
That's okay, but I think you painted the picture, but my dear Lord.
Here's one on Yahoo Sports. Oh, wait, no. Wow. I don't think it is.
This 20 days being trapped in any tunnel is insane. Yet alone being trapped in the fucking Miami-Dade County fucking sewer tunnel.
Delray Beach.
Which is Miami-Dade County.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, it's like Harris County, Houston, Miami-Dade County.
Okay, here. The woman who was trapped in the drainage system has a history of mental health issues, drug addiction, and making poor decisions when under the influence, according to a Delray Beach police report. The South, I mean, dude, trust me, those Florida people, man.
It's hard to laugh at that, TIZZ family.
Love the Florida vibes, but you know, there's some interesting characters in South Florida. The South Florida Sun Sentinel is not naming her because of her mental health issues. The woman's screams on Tuesday alarmed the passerby who just parked her car in the area of West 11 Atlantic Avenues. The bystander called 911. Quote, "There's somebody stuck in a sewer over here," the bystander told a dispatcher. The circumstances were so unusual, the dispatcher had to double check. "I'm sorry, there's a ... Somebody stuck? There's a lady stuck in the sewer. Yes, she cannot get out. Rats and snakes, garbage, all end up in the storm drain. Firefighters showed up to pull the woman to safety. When the woman was pulled up, she was dirty and her hair was covered with leaves. She was unclothed and unable to stand. The woman told police she was swimming in a canal in West Delray when she vanished on March 3rd. She says in a shallow part of the canal, she opened a door that led her to a series of tunnels. According to a police report, a woman said the first tunnel led her to another tunnel and then another. She said she eventually became lost.
Sounds like some Ninja Turtle shit to me.
It really does. She said she eventually became lost and remained underground for the next 3 weeks. She said she ended up in the drainage ditch on Atlantic Avenue by following the light. Then Tuesday, the bystander finally heard her screaming for help, she said. Now, Taylor, can you imagine, like, this woman was probably fucked up when she went in there, right? But first of all, let's hope she didn't have a serious drug addiction and like couldn't have her drugs while she was in there. And second, let's just imagine that. Let's say you have, a little too many beers, you're going for a swim, and you decide to just go through one of these tunnels and you get lost. Now, when you sober up, that shit would suck.
It would suck, but I gotta say, I think I'm a little different than this woman, and I would be able to figure something out.
I would definitely figure something out. And honestly, I don't think I
Because
would
I could
ever, I
swim
would,
upstream, and because I'm a surfer, Tim, as you know. I mean, water doesn't scare me. I mean, it's very deadly and it's very powerful, but I mean, I've surfed 30-foot waves across the globe, and so water doesn't scare me. But for some random woman, yeah, yeah,
swamp woman from Florida,
yeah. I mean,
the
that's
Everglades woman.
terrifying. It's fucking terrifying
Yeah,
for
it is.
anybody to be in that position.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking
But she's
bonkers
alive and
that,
she got out, right?
yeah, thank God, there wasn't some surge that where they diverted water or whatever and she drowned, like,
Yeah. Could you imagine just having your face at the gate and like just like a just like millions of gallons of water behind you, just like pushing you
the
against
entire
it?
city, the water of the entire city drains into those tunnels. Like,
Yeah. I mean, she's very lucky that she's alive. Fucking man,
yeah.
dude. Wow. Well, you
Maybe
just
she'll learn her lesson. Maybe she'll finally, quit
maybe she'll stop
quit what
smoking
she's doing.
crack or
Yeah.
shooting heroin or, smoking meth or whatever it is that she was on.
Yeah.
No hate, but just saying. Just got to be out there, Diz fam.
Yeah.
Gotta be real with it. Got
Sometimes
to be real.
people need a real wake up call and, definitely getting stuck in the sewer for many days and trying to find your way out
I
would be
mean,
a
many
huge wake up
days. I
call.
mean, just being in there for fucking more than a couple hours is kind of fucked up, in my opinion. I couldn't imagine being there for
I think the
days.
scariest like 10 hours are and then you start to realize, well, oh fuck, like I'm actually in this bitch. I cannot get out. And you gotta actually devise like
I
a
mean,
way
I'm
to get out
surprised
of
she
there,
didn't like try and chew her way through that shit, Anyways,
How do you think she
well,
ate? You think she killed some snakes while she was down there and ate them?
snakes, rats, squirrels. I mean, fuck, dude. I don't know. I've never been in that position, but if I had to, I would,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, that was a great little topic we talked about. We went from crypto to, women trapped in fucking tunnels and shit like that. I want to do a quick announcements and shouts for the week. I want to give a great happy birthday to a couple people. Kaylin Martinez. I know we haven't talked in a long time, but happy fucking birthday. I know your birthday was on March 30th. Miss you a lot. Miss you. It's been too long since we've spoken. But happy fucking birthday. And my boy Dan Fever out of New York motherfucking city. Happy fucking birthday, dude. Thank you for being a consistent listener to the podcast. I know you listened to it recently and you fell in love with it. And thank you for being a supporter. I met you 10 years ago and we have been hanging like homies ever since. I know you live in New York. I live in Houston. I met you in Israel. We're homies. It's what it is. Shout out to them.
So I am what Barstool would consider diehard Stoolie. I consume Barstool media more than any other media, and I have been a long time listener and fan of Barstool. And Barstool Sports, David Portnoy, if you're listening, I don't think you are, but if
He
anyone at
probably isn't, but
he's shout out Dave sex tape the other day.
Dave P. Yeah, we know.
No, he had another sex tape come out, he's definitely fucking when he's down in Miami. Actually, the kid
As
that I'm
he
living
should
with,
be.
the kid that I'm living with next year, he was in Miami for vacation and across the hall at his hotel was Dave Portnoy, and got to meet him and told me that he was with this really hot chick, like he usually is, and all the girls in his live streams when he was doing those unboxing videos would be begging for him, and he gets the ladies. But Barstool Sports, Dave Portnoy, all their media, what they're capable of doing, how they don't really give a fuck about all these media, so-called media norms. CEO Erica Nardini, a fucking beast of a woman, like such a great company. And I think that to even get interest from Barstool is a compliment because it shows that you aren't a sucker. You aren't here with an agenda. You speak freely. That is their whole mindset is people who speak freely, people who go against the grain, people who actually, call out what's good in life. And, shout out TIZZ, shout out TIZZ Talk, shout out Too Woke to Go Broke. This thing's about to take off. And if you're a new listener, welcome. We're so glad to have you. Just watch, and we're gonna do our best to keep entertaining you guys every week.
So yeah, we're just giving thanks to everybody, and at the end of the day, we run these podcasts usually late at night, and we're in the same time zone. But Jared just told me he got the sickest deal in the world for food and drinks, and I'm just like, whoa, I wish I could get that. So what was that deal?
Well, I asked him what he's sipping on. He said he's St. Arnold Art Car IPA, great IPA from Houston,
that's
Texas.
what I'm sipping on. Yes.
Yeah, that's what he's sipping on. But I'm actually sipping on Blue Moon. So the place down the street from me, literally a block away in New Orleans, uptown New Orleans. It's a place called Fresco Cafe, and it's a pizzeria, Italian place. Yep, Fresco Cafe. They got they're open till 1 a.m. They'll deliver you food when you're drunk at 1 a.m. and they're a great place, but they got the drink deals, Monday through Wednesday from open to 11 p.m. If you dine in, you can get a pitcher of Blue Moon, which has about 4 or 5 beers in it, for $6.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably about
$6 on tap.
So
$6 on tap. On Friday, you can get a pitcher of margaritas on the rocks for $6.
See, I don't know if I trust companies' margaritas.
No, they make them fresh. So they have.
No, not that they're not good, but it's like I'd rather just get the picture of the Blue Moon because I know exactly what.
Well, they don't have that on Friday. On Friday, it's picture of margaritas. I
don't live in New Orleans. I don't.
Yeah, it's different days of the week. They got.
I can tell you this.
Thursday they got wine night, cheap wine.
You come to Houston and you go to El Tiempo Mexican Cafe and you order margaritas. Only takes about 2 of those motherfucking margaritas, and you are lit like the sun.
Yep.
I mean, no joke, no.
Because they put Everclear in them.
I don't know what they put in them.
They put Everclear in them,
but they are so strong. I mean, you only really need like 1. If 2, you're
and they're big. No, 2, you're not.
It's not even lit. The
1,
size,
you're pretty
it's
lit.
The
2, it's got you where you're trying to go.
Yeah. To say the least. But no, that was good talk. And real quick, I got to give a shout out to my sponsors over at Anchor FM.
It's the TIZZ Talk Podcast. It's the TIZZ Talk Podcast.
Thank you, Anchor, for everything you do for the TIZZ Talk Podcast. We would not be able to do this without you. And so back to the show. So J-Man, I know we've talked about stocks, we talked about crypto, we've talked about this, didn't that, as 2
the woman in the sewer.
The woman in the sewer. Yeah, we talked about that too. I got some headlines pulled up, and I don't need to dive deep into the actual articles, but I could definitely read the titles and we could talk about them.
Read the titles and maybe a little bit.
Okay. All right. So one of the things that I'd like to at least just dive in a little into is the title of this article. And I'm sorry, we're switching topics. It is time for the headlines of the week. First topic.
Dun, dun, dun.
What it's like when everyone blames you for the Suez Canal jam. Disinformation made Marwa Eslahara, I don't know how to say that probably. I'm sorry. The villain of the internet's favorite saga in the Suez. Then she took control of the narrative. Now, I don't understand exactly what that means. So I'm going to read a little bit into this because that was a weird title. The last 3 weeks have been absurd. Last 3 weeks have been absurd, even surreal for Marwa Eslasharda, however you pronounce that correctly. And I'm sorry, Marwa, if I've got your name wrong. On the day the internet's favorite cargo ship ever given got diagonally stuck across Egypt's Suez Canal for nearly a week. It launched thousands of viral memes, conspiracy theories, and rumors.
And cost billions of dollars.
I understand. I'm getting there. Eslasharda, or Eslaharda, however you say her name, who is Egypt's first woman sea captain, found herself in a vortex of vicious disinformation, or a disinformation campaign that falsely blamed her for piloting the Ever Given ship, the largest container ship in the world, which is nearly a quarter mile long, and crashing it into the Suez Canal. Quote unquote, coming from her, from what I saw, the fake post came up within hours of Ever Given getting stuck. Eslahardra told Vice World News from Cairo, quote unquote, in fact, I was hundreds of miles away in Alexandria aboard Ida IV or Ida the Fourth, whatever, if it's Roman numerals, ship. And my friends alerted me of this viral post. And then there's a picture of her, this really attractive looking girl just at sea, it's a quote unquote. I don't know who these trolls are or why they did it, but they kept saying it was a mistake, that I'm to be blamed for everything that happened. This is what she said. Quote unquote again, the trolling just showed they don't accept women in the industry, even though the few of us who are in this line are very professional and good at our work. Now, hold on. I have to stop.
Hold on.
I don't give a fuck if you're a woman or a man. That is a big fucking mistake. And you fucked up, woman. I'm sorry.
Listen, if you are the person who is the head of that shit, I don't care whether you're a man, a woman, a tranny, a bisexual person, a quasi whatever, you are responsible, and you don't necessarily deserve the misinformation, but you definitely do not deserve to blame the people who made rumors up about you that they do not support you because you're a woman. They don't support you because your job, you fucked up. You were the person in charge. And if that's your job, that shit should not happen. You cost the global economy billions, if hundreds, maybe even a trillion of dollars.
Not to cut you off, they're lucky they got that thing unleashed as fast as they did.
They were losing I think it was $100 billion a day for
and which drove oil prices up, which is good for the US oil market, but at the same time,
sucks for me trying to buy gas.
Deal. Well, it did. It stopped the Saudi oil trade, which pumped up the US oil trade. But the problem is who gives a fuck if you're a woman or a man or whatever, just like you said. Don't fucking come out on social media and say some shit like, oh, I'm getting fucking harassed and it's my fault because I'm a woman. No, absolutely not. If you are a businessman, businesswoman, I don't care, and that was a fuck up on your company's behalf, own up to that shit.
Look, you have to be, I don't care if you're a man, woman, whatever. Like, if you're going to get appointed to that position, obviously you're very qualified. Obviously you're an accomplished person. Obviously you should have a lot of respect.
Well, you would hope so, right?
You would hope so. But if you fuck up on something like that, right? If you don't realize that the winds are a certain way, or that there's a possibility this would happen, and you don't take the initiative to even have preventative measures, then you did not do your job. Your job is to make sure that that canal operates like it should. And if you don't do that, I'm sorry, but you cost the world, you cost people money, you cost everybody money across the world. And the least that you have to worry about is some people making some memes about you, some people saying that you are captaining the ship, joking about you and yanking your chain. Like, that's the last, that is the least that you deserve. Honestly, you probably deserve to lose your job, and you probably deserve to be fined somehow, right? But that is what you get,
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I got to go back, and I talked about this on the last episode, is, like back in March of 2020, Too Woke, my co-host, who's not on the line tonight, did a quick Gilligan's Island song about the Diamond Princess ship. And if you listen to the last episode, it's called Tell Me What You Want, What You Really, Really Want. I added that in there because we were talking about it, but we didn't get into detail. But basically, and I'm going to continue on this, on March 24th, Ellis Heather, however you say it, posted a video on her Instagram to dispel the rumors. Quote unquote, this is what she said. I decided to own this conversation and use it to send out a supportive message for all women out there and not just those in the marine industry, she said. An international maritime organization data states that women represent only 2% of the world's 1.2 million seafarers. Of them, 94% work in the fucking cruise industry. So this woman obviously fucked up, and she's trying to recoup herself by saying this, that, and the other, but the rest of them work in the cruise industry, not the fucking...
Honestly, I don't know the statistic, but every cruise ship I've been on, the head captain has been a woman, and I'm pretty sure that.
Well, I've never been on a cruise ship, so I don't know.
Percentage. I'm gonna look this up. Percentage.
Well, I'm just telling you what she said, quote unquote. Now I'm not done. Let me keep going while you look up each other. Now, some Egyptian media called the campaign against Esla Hedar anti-feminist. This disinformation, which catapulted Esla Hedar as the unlikely villain of the Suez Canal jam, started with doctored headline of March 22nd Arab news article that originally profiled her for being Egypt's first woman ship captain. The fake news changed the headline to cargo ship crashes into Suez Canal, first female Arab Lloyd captain involved in the incident. She took offense to that. And then a fake Twitter account on her name supposedly cropped up, which amassed a significant following after the user tweeted the fake post. The 30-year-old didn't have a Twitter account at that point. By the time she created a new account to clarify the truth, the fake news was riding high on, virality and around Ever Given, the company. It also launched thousands of responses, including some that invoked the myth of women being bad drivers. I mean, take that for what you want to take it for.
Look,
but
that part's a little sexist, the whole women bad driver thing. That's definitely a huge stereotype, and it's obviously not true.
At the end of the day, you're running a business, and there was a big fuck up.
Wait, is she the head? Is she the head of of the stuff for the state?
She's the head of running that ship's operations.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so whether she fucked up or the captain fucked up, it doesn't matter. It's still her responsibility, and she's trying to use it as, oh yes, we're getting blamed because I'm a woman.
Let's say
fucked up. No, that's not the truth. It could have been a man.
Let's say that Apple Inc. Apple, okay, they fucked up some higher level employee, not necessarily Tim Cook, but some higher level employee, or Facebook, some higher level employee did some shit, right? And they did some shit that looked bad on Facebook's behalf. That is the responsibility of Mark Zuckerberg or Tim Cook to not let happen.
Right.
They're the ones answering the questions.
It's the responsibility of the person who's in charge of overseeing the operation. If you
oversee everything, you do exactly that. You oversee the operation.
It's the responsibility of the individual who's overseeing the operation. I don't care if you're a woman, a man, a transvestite, a motherfucking transsexual. It doesn't matter. You are responsible for overseeing this, and when something fucks up, you're going to get the heat. Don't fucking spin this that I'm just getting treated like this because I'm a woman. That's
now
bullshit.
I can see how the whole driving thing would piss her off, but look, if you're going to be the head of something that big, if you're going to be the head of anything, you better be prepared to take heat. People in powerful positions, people who have a lot of control, people in head positions, the ones that are successful, There's one characteristic they all have. And, back to Dave Portnoy. Dave Portnoy is literally the god of having thick skin. You have to have thick skin if you're going to run a company, if you're going to run a business, if you're going to run a ship. You have to have thick skin
if you're going to
you
do
have
a lot
to
of things. But
you have to have thick skin in life. If you want to be successful, if you want to go from being a low-level employee to making your way up top, you have to have thick skin. I don't care where you work. I don't care who you are. In life, you have to have thick skin. And, she, instead of taking responsibility and making an apology, sort of made excuses, sort of turned the tables. And I don't think that's right. I think she should lose her motherfucking job is what I think should happen.
She spun it in a way that, it focused on, I'm getting attacked because I'm a woman. And
it's the whole defund the police thing. Derek Chauvin, the fucking the fucker that he is. Fuck that dude. But now all these police departments across the country, now people don't have faith in police as a whole. Just because of one person. If she had one captain that fucked up,
let's make this clear before we go into more in depth on that. Defunding the police is a completely different thing than completely eradicating the police. You can't get rid of the police. Who's going to protect us? Now, a lot of people want to get rid of them, but defunding them is one thing, because honestly, go back to the episode, The Big Misunderstanding. It's me and my co-host, Chuck, and it's all about the war on drugs, and it's all about what's really going on. And he spits the truth. And I'm not going to get into detail. If you want to hear about it, go listen to it. But the point is it frustrates me a little bit here, because this is bullshit. The bottom line is, as a businessman myself, I cannot agree with her statements. Okay. I put my ass on the line every single day to get shit done, and even chunk up a portion of my money to get it done. And I just don't agree with, I don't blame that on anybody else. I'm a fucking businessman. I know how this works. And the fact that she's saying this, it just bothers me. It bothers me.
Let's move on.
And you know what? We shouldn't even give her any more credit. We should just move the fuck on.
Yep.
So anyways, do you have a topic? Because I have plenty of other things we could speak on. But
well, I guess what's fresh in my mind right now is the Masters are this week.
Well, okay. So you want to talk about golf? So while we're on that topic, they finally came out with some report today that, Tiger Woods' crash that happened, I think it was like a month or two ago, I'll read the title of the report, but, Tiger Woods' car crash, golfing great, drove at almost double the speed limit. Tiger Woods was driving close to double the 45 speed limit when he crashed in February, according to Los Angeles County Sheriffs. The 15-time major champion, 45 years old, had to be extracted from the wreck of his car by firefighters and paramedics. Tiger Woods' car left the road at about 84 to 87 miles. That's where they're miles per hour. That's what they're estimating, and flipped several times during the incident in California. Woods was released from the hospital earlier this month after just sustaining a number of serious injuries. There was no evidence of Woods, being impaired by drugs or alcohol during the crash. LA County Sheriff Alex Villanova, I think that's how you say it, says, quote unquote, the primary causal factor for this traffic collision was driving at a speed that was unsafe for road conditions and the inability to negotiate the curve of the roadway. And I'll leave it at that. I mean, dude, you know what? We all make mistakes. I mean, so what? He's a big time golfer. He was driving fast and he overestimated what he could do on the road. I mean, so be it. He's alive. He's okay. And he'll continue to do his thing. Are his days coming to an end? Probably. Is he still one of the best golfers alive?
I don't think he'll ever play golf again. It breaks my heart, Tiz, because
he might not, but he's still one of the best ever.
He's chasing Jack Nicklaus right now. And
that's fine. But what I'm saying, all I was trying to say was they're now finally, the investigation has come not to a conclusion, but to a point to where they've been able to figure out like, yeah, he was going like way over the speed limit on a curvature part of the freeway and, crashed car. Thankfully, he didn't kill anybody or himself, and it was just a wreck and he was okay and he's still able to play golf. But I think this is his retirement point.
It might be, very, very well might be, but Tiger has won majors, has won golf tournaments with broken bones in his body, with torn,
I'm not
with
saying
torn
he's done.
ligaments
I'm
in his
saying
body.
this
Tiger
could be.
Tiger has won tournaments. He has some of the most serious grit out of anybody I've ever seen in life. I watched his documentary a few weeks ago, and it made me cry, multiple times. And
Well, I'm not a big golf guy, so I don't know. You are. I'm just reading the article, but all I'm saying is like this could be the pivotal point of the end of his career.
it could, and he has left a massive legacy for golf. He has, people like Justin Thomas or Tiger's a huge mentor to him, and all these people. Tiger Woods is just one of the most recognizable names in the world.
For the past 2.5 decades.
Yeah.
And no disrespect to Tiger. I mean, dude, look, I've made mistakes. I've crashed cars. I mean, that shit happened.
I almost died in a crash a month ago,
I almost literally died a year and 3 months ago in California by running a rental car into a fucking 18-wheeler, which was originally the TIZZ Talk Podcast logo, or, and I had to change that. I've updated things, but yeah, that happened. We all make mistakes, but when you're in the public's eye like that, people are watching.
Tiger.
People are judging, and people are going to say whatever the fuck they want to say. And most of it's probably bullshit. But at the end of the day, I mean, it seemed like a serious wreck, and he's probably at the end of his career.
Yeah. Moving on sort of to what I was originally going to say about the Masters on more of an upbeat note, the Masters are back. Augusta National Golf Club, Augusta, Georgia.
Are you going?
No, there's no spectators this year.
Okay, yeah, COVID. Fuck.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's no spectators.
I wouldn't know, but I would say if there are spectators, like you have to have some serious clearance to get in.
Yeah, but actually today I was putting together my picks. So me and my friend, his dad, and my dad all have this betting pool that we do for all the major tournaments, and you pick your top 5 that you think have a shot at winning or are going to score the lowest at the end of the tournament. Your top 3 of those 5 are the ones that count, and whoever has the lowest score at the end of Sunday with their top 3 people wins the tourney. I have Dustin Johnson, who is, the returning champ, is just, I think, going to be one of the biggest names in golf. He's going to be as big as Tiger. He's a fucking beast. I got the long stick Bryson DeChambeau, who is going to definitely make some seriously low scores on holes, going to make eagle a few times throughout the tournament. Who knows what's going to happen? The dude hits the ball an absolute mile. Justin Thomas, who, I really think is starting to more so morph into a powerhouse in golf. He's done well at Augusta National. He's done well in majors. He's a serious contender. A lot of people do not give him as much credit as he deserves, and I think he is going to go out there and show out. Jon Rahm, who is the world number 2. I am not sure if he's going to be one of my picks or not, so let's just forget about him. And then I got Patrick Reed, who, when his driving is accurate and on point, can be a serious contender in these major tournaments, has played in plenty of tournaments at Augusta, and ultimately could shoot pretty low. I'm considering Spieth, who was hot last week. I'm sort of considering Rory McIlroy, but Spieth is, he just won last week. He's been looking really well. His iron game is sharp like it used to be back in the day, but Augusta has haunted Spieth, and he has had, I can't remember what year it was, but he had that meltdown at Augusta, and could he just pop off for a week and cool off instantly like some other players have recently? Who knows? And so ultimately, I think that JT, Bryson, and Dustin are my top three. Patrick Reed's probably in there, and I'm going to look for a fifth guy to carry the squad. It's a fun betting system. You got 5 guys you get to root on as you're watching the tournament. I bought Fubo TV, or a free trial of Fubo TV for the March Madness.
Shout out to Fubo. If you want to trade some options on Fubo, it's ripping.
It is ripping. And, I bought a free trial to Fubo that I have for 7 days, which is going to started on Monday when the national championship was, and it's going to continue to next Monday. So I got all the way through Sunday that I can watch the Masters live on my TV, have all my boys over and watch that shit. And I got 5 people to cheer on. So, plenty of fun for me. And, I'm looking forward to it. It's the best event in golf, and so historic. So many cool moments have happened at Augusta. Probably the number one course in the United States.
I just don't know shit about golf. It just reminds me of watching Caddyshack, but
funny story actually about Caddyshack. So Caddyshack was the first time I ever saw tits. I was maybe.
I thought you said TIZZ. You said tits.
No, tits.
Yeah,
so
okay.
I had an iPod, the one that had the wheel on it, but it had a screen. You could actually upload movies to that iPod.
Yeah.
And my dad forgot there was sex scenes in Caddyshack. He didn't really give a fuck. And so he put Caddyshack on my iPod when I had to have been 10, 11 years old, maybe even younger than that, actually. And he put Caddyshack on my iPod, and I cannot remember what it was like the first time I ever saw tits. That was
it's funny.
That was when I knew I wanted women.
It's funny you say that, because Caddyshack, even at my age, I'm 34, you're 20.
Yeah. 21.
Okay. So I got to get 13 years on you. And I know you're really good buddies with my younger brother, who's a little younger than you. And shout out to the younger brother of the TIZZ. But
what up, Sphincter?
Yeah, what up, motherfucker? Time to get you back on the show, asshole.
Yeah, he's been too busy.
Trust me, I talked to him. But when I was like younger than you, I mean, I swear I had to have been 11, 12. It was like the first time I saw it, because my dad showed it to me, and Caddyshack was the shit. Like, it was the first time I saw titties. Like, I was like, man, this shit is amazing. And you had Harvey Dangerfield, you had fucking Bill Murray. I mean, it was just, you had Chevy Chase. I mean, classic movie. I mean, just absolutely classic. Movie. It's an it will never die. It's always going to be a classic.
Anybody who's into golf at some point in their life.
You don't even have to be into golf. The movie's great.
You don't even have to, yeah.
You don't even have to.
Great movie. Same with Happy Gilmore too. Happy Gilmore.
Gilmore, Big Daddy, fucking Billy Madison. I mean, all those are great fucking movies. But it's just funny that you say that, because that was like the first movie where I was really introduced to the exposure of titties. And titties, the titties, and
knockers.
I mean, it is what it is. But it's just, if you haven't seen Caddyshack, anybody who's listening to it, fucking go watch that shit. Now, there's
if
like,
you haven't seen Caddyshack, what are you doing? So
I know, right? Like, if you haven't seen it, like, get with the fucking times, people. But there are like, I think there's like 2 sequels after it, but there's nothing even comparable to the original. And it was like made in like 1978 or something like that. It was something like that.
It's an old movie.
Great movie. Great fucking movie. Whether you like golf or not, you're going to laugh your ass off. Now, it is comparatively to what movies look like today. It's a little cheesy, but it's still so fucking good. So anyways, let's move on to a couple other topics real quick. Facebook says it's not your... Did we talk about this already? Facebook says it's not your fault that hackers got 500 million user phone numbers. A database containing the stolen phone numbers of more than 500 million Facebook users is being freely traded online. Now,
wait, they say it's not their fault?
Do I need to read the title again?
I thought you said it's not your fault. I
No.
just want to clarify.
Facebook says it's not your fault.
No.
Yeah.
Facebook says it is your fault that hackers got 500 million user phone numbers.
A database containing the phone numbers of more than 500 million, which means about 500 million Facebook users, is being freely traded online, and Facebook is trying to pin the blame on everyone but themselves. Now, that seems a little fucked up to me. A majority of the world, they use Facebook. They look at Facebook as the internet. That is their internet. You know what I mean? Like they don't get on the web, the actual web, like they get on Facebook. That's their internet. That's where they get their information from.
Hang on. I just found out where this really matters.
Well, I mean, if this is true, I mean, that is extremely fucked.
Clark goes on to explain that the people who collected this data, scraped this data, did so by using a feature designed to help new users find their friends on the platform, quote unquote. This feature was designed to help people easily find their friends to connect with on our services using their contact list, Clark explains. The contact importer feature allowed new users to upload their contact list and match those numbers against the numbers stored on people's profiles. But like most of Facebook's features, the company left it wide open to abuse by hackers. Effectively, the hacker created an address book with every phone number on the planet and then asked Facebook if his friends are on Facebook. Security expert Mark Hipponen explained in a tweet. Now, Taylor, I'm going to draw an analogy here, right? There's a saying that everybody in the world through 3 people. And 3 people only, right? So if my phone number has, let's say, 500 contacts, and then those people's phone numbers have 500 contacts, then it's 500 squared. And so if you put every phone number on the planet, or you at least put a quarter of every phone number on the planet, you're going to have mutuals, and all these other phone numbers are going to show up. And that's exactly what this guy did. Honestly, he's a pretty smart dude. But, this shows how there are flaws in a lot of the systems that social media platforms create to, quote unquote, make our lives easier,
Well, it's also, in my opinion, the biggest problem that we deal with today. It's like, look, it's like, God damn. I mean, if you're going to use Facebook as your source of information, you're just going to put all your information out there, which is the main reason why I don't fuck with Facebook. Yeah, you're putting yourself in a very vulnerable situation.
You are,
and especially if you're easy to buy into these stupid ads and whatever. I mean, you're just going to give that information up. Like, look, be smart, people. Do your fucking due diligence. Don't rely on the mainstream media or even the internet, which is so fucked these days. I mean, that's the truth. It's like, do your own due diligence, like listen to what you're hearing and then fucking do some research. Don't rely on any source, like literally dig in and
that's how misinformation spreads,
And today with 8 billion people on the planet, or almost 7.89, yeah, you kind of fucking have to.
Also, the media chops up people's words,
Be smart. Don't be stupid. Don't just sit there and listen to Fox News or CNBC it doesn't matter. CNN. I don't care what side you're on. If you're a fucking Republican, a Democrat, which I don't even call it that anymore. If you're a fucking Republican, I call you a fucking blood. If you're a goddamn Democrat, you're a goddamn Crip. It's Crips and
gang since potty train.
I mean, it's what it is these days, and it's what it's turned into. And you know what? I think we could wrap this up now, but I think it was a good show. I think it was informative. I mean, we talked about crypto. We talked about a woman being trapped in a motherfucking, sewer tunnel. We talked about
coming soon. We did an episode a while ago, but there was a terrible lag. This was way back in the early days. Called the 10 Commandments of Chasing the Bag.
Chasing the Bag, and we need to redo that.
We are going to redo it. We're going to revise the list.
I took it down because it was a lag, and
yeah. So we're gonna come up with some new 10 Commandments, the revised edition, part 2.
Because Tuo was just diving in and giving me shit on that whole thing. And not to say that he's wrong or right, but we need to redo that episode regardless.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to the TIZZ Talk Podcast. Jared, I'm glad you hopped on this show. This is a good fucking conversation. So, Jared, what do you got to say to the TIZZ fam as your departing piece of this episode?
All right. Buy the dip, sell the rocket ship, buy some Bitcoin, sit on it for 10 years and make some money. You know, gang since potty train, as they say these days. And, you know, I've loved coming on here. I had a great time. It's definitely been a good episode, and I'd love to come back soon, especially with Too Woke to Go Broke, because
we'll get Too Woke and you guys back on your show together.
Yeah, sure. But you know, TIZZ Talk Podcast, like we said with Bitcoin, and like we said with this podcast, and like Jordan Belfort said once upon a time, we're not fucking leaving.
No, we ain't leaving. Diamond hands, I'm holding it. I'm holding it, baby. I'm holding it. I ain't fucking leaving. But TIZZ fam, as I always say, get your mind correct. Get your fucking mind correct, because I got to get mine correct all the time. And when you get it correct, keep it correct, because that's the hardest part. Now, the TIZZ, as I always say, I never ask why. I always ask, why not? Because life's too short.
Why not?
Why not? Thank you for joining in on this episode. TIZZ Talk, we are out.
Amen.
And that's it for the TIZZ Talk podcast. Jared, thank you for being on the show. Peace out. Or how about this? Peace out, Cub Scout. That's what I got to say.
We're not fucking leaving.
We ain't leaving. We ain't leaving, but we are leaving. Later, TIZZ Talk.
Later.
It's the TIZZ Talk Podcast. It's the TIZZ Talk Podcast. TIZZ Talk Podcast.